Welcome to the world's first Straight Talk Solarcast. This is your go-to podcast for answers about solar. Brought to you by Solar Harmonics in Northern California, who invite their customers to own their energy by purchasing a solar panel system for their home, business, or farm. Each episode, we discuss questions facing people making the decision to go solar. The solutions to your questions are given to you straight by one of the leading experts in the solar industry, Jamie Duran, president of Solar Harmonics. Feel free to search our library for answers to questions that you're facing when considering solar. And now, here's Adam Duran, our host with the questions, and Jamie Duran, our solar expert with Straight Talk Solarcast.
Hello, Jamie.
Hello, Adam.
How's everything in the land of solar this week?
Well, it's nice and warm, so we have some really happy people who are thanking us for, oh my God, I'm so happy we have solar. And then we have some people who are, oh my God, what the hell is this? And why isn't there marches on PG&E every day? Because my bill is $1,800 for 1 month in the month of July. And there's no way it could be this expensive. And so I hear you. And it's arguing in the present. Agreed. Yeah. But you can jump up and down and march. Not so effective, but getting solar, that might be the most effective. And they're hearing all kinds of things that are happening in the solar. Solar companies going out of business, and people, high interest rates and terrible time to go solar. And they're hearing terrible time to go solar from people who already have solar. And so that's making the new people feel really bad.
Yes, I've seen that.
Yeah. It's a sorry, SUCKER. But I have my solar, and you should have gotten solar. And then they say, oh yeah, my solar installer is no longer in business. So what we're seeing now is we're seeing kind of a calming down of the solar industry. So in California, we're starting to hit the new normal, which is insane electricity bills in the summer months, and pretty moderate, meaning still high in the fall and spring, and the winter months kind of low. But a lot of the same people are getting electric vehicles, and their electricity bills are high all year round. But no gasoline bills and no car repair bills. So what always seems to happen is people hit a pain point, and then they're ready to go solar. And so what we're seeing lately, what I mean by pain point, is when you get that $1,800 electricity bill, but you've been staring at a solar proposal for 3 months, and you're like, oh, all right, this is ridiculous. I'm going to spend $1,800 or do a loan payment of, say, $450 for solar.
Yeah, so totally.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. But 2 years ago, instead of $450, that payment would have been, $280. And so it's a much different time. But so solar is more expensive in that interest rates are higher. The solar equipment actually has, believe it or not, come down in price. Labor costs, insurance rates are insane. And so workers' comp is higher than ever. And so on the installation side, our costs are higher. Freight is higher as well. But overall, I was kind of looking at our prices from 2017 and 2020 and 2024, and we're almost at the same prices that we were before. So apparently we're not.
I know. Raise your rates.
Well, maybe, but if we're able to meet our expenses, then maybe not. And so, but other companies certainly are. We're seeing a huge range of pricing out there. And so that's kind of the state of solar, residential solar. If you got 6 different proposals and you said my electricity bill is, say, $300, you would get a range of from $21,000 up to $60,000. And you're like, well, what and how, and how is this possible?
Yeah.
But it's also because, there's some companies that say solar only, like mine. I still recommend solar only. Get rid of the spring, summer, fall bills, and then leave, the winter will still get rid of a good part of it, at least 50%. But that remainder 50%, if everyone's saying you need battery or batteries, if you divide that remainder bill by the cost of a battery, it's like 100 years for that thing to pay for itself. So
wow, really?
I don't know, 100 years, but I mean, it doesn't still, to me, does not make financial sense. Okay. However, we have a lot of people that still want to minimize their electricity costs. So we do include a battery, and then people say, well, every other company is doing 2 batteries. Why are you only doing 1? So, well, because these things are ding dang expensive, and we can start off with 1. It's not that difficult to add a second one if you need it. But I'm contending you probably don't need it. And so, and that's why the range, the more batteries you add, the more expensive the proposal is. And so it's always in flux, but we are seeing, I had mentioned earlier about solar companies staying in business versus going out of business. The ones who were able to flex their overhead, especially, and the number of salespeople they had, and the aggressiveness and the marketing campaigns, meaning that as demand dropped, they were able to reduce their staff, not close up business, but reduce their staff, reduce their marketing, and just kind of wait out this crazy time. Those companies are doing really well, and they're getting lots more projects. And what do we point to as our best friend in the solar business?
PG&E.
And going back to that $1,800 electricity bill, where people are just, my rent is $3,000. How could my electricity be $1,800? And so, anywho, so thank you, PG&E. You are doing great service. You're driving us crazy on every other aspect, but in the solar business, the higher the electricity rates go, the better it is for the solar industry, because it just definitely pushes people to solar options. So we kind of talked about the carrot and the stick many, many times, and the carrot of net energy metering is now pretty much gone. There's another article today, or earlier this week, that says a group, quote unquote, is recommending that the state eliminate net energy metering for NEM 1.0 and 2.0 clients.
Hey, who that? Who's that? Who's saying that?
Okay. A study group out of Sacramento.
Funded by?
I don't know. That is fascinating. I don't
wait
know.
a second.
But yeah, they're talking about eliminating the net energy metering program altogether, and even if you got in under the price tag, or the deadline, they still talking about getting rid of it. So even if that does happen, it's still getting rid of most of the most expensive rates that PG&E charges during the peak times and during the daylight hours. It'll still make sense to go solar. It'll still make sense to generate your own power. But the companies who have adjusted to that are the ones that are thriving now and not just surviving. So we have big things planned for 2025, which I can't believe we're 3 months away from 2025, and we'll have a new president, new election, all that kind of stuff. And hopefully the Inflation Reduction Act will continue, where we get the 30% solar tax credit, and then potentially more clarification on the bonus, 10% for domestic content. And we're already seeing more and more solar companies from overseas that are opening U.S. manufacturing, because all the solar people like me are saying, hey, it's going to make it a lot easier to sell solar if we can do it with a 40% tax credit, which is just mind-blowing. So if it's a $200,000 system, $80,000 tax credit would be crazy. So
that is a good thing.
Great thing. Yeah, okay. It's a great thing.
Encouraging domestic manufacturing.
It is. Well, because now you get 30% tax credit for just having solar. There's very few battery manufacturers, believe it or not, that make their batteries in the United States. And so, but one company they've brought their batteries onshore, which is really going to help, getting a bonus 10% on a battery system, where I was saying, adding 2 batteries, adds $30,000 to $40,000.
Wow, yeah.
So an additional 10% tax credit, that's an additional $4,000 on that system. So makes a big difference.
Yeah.
Makes a big difference. So
it's a ray of sunshine in this solar week.
Well, yeah, you got to be in the solar business. you really have to have skin like armor. We're armadillos because
What's that?
things change and you have to adapt. And if you don't adapt, you go out of business. And there's been over 100 companies in California, big ones, and small ones, that are now out of business. And they all blame the NEM 3.0. But is it more a question of, do you blame, inability to be flexible and being able to scale and being able to adjust to a new market every single time. So every year there's going to be new changes, new technologies, new savings, and new penalties. But it's how do we navigate that so we're here in the long term for our clients. And so we talk to people nearly every day that their solar company is out of business. They have a problem with their system, and what are you going to do about it? And we want to, how can we help you? Not how are we going to do something for free when it costs us, $300 to send a truck over to someone's house? So it's a process, and customers are going to adjust, and we're going to adjust, and PG&E will never ever reduce their electricity rates, even if the CEO takes a pay cut to zero. That will not affect the electricity rates. They will still increase.
I believe it. I believe it. I mean,
it is. It's a whole thing. But that's kind of the state of solar right now, especially in the residential side. And we see some really good things coming, and more and more solar will be necessary. And there's right now an excess of solar power on some sunny days. And but that's crazy because they should be storing it or selling it or giving it to another state or anyway. But that'll come soon as well. But overall, we're doing great. That's kind of the whole thing.
All right. There's a state of the solar in California. Nice, Jamie. Okay.
Residential.
Yeah, residential. Yes. We're going to wrap it up there. If you have another question for Jamie for an upcoming episode, you know what to do. You can go to our Facebook page, Straight Talk Solarcast. Send us a message through there. If you'd like to check out a library of our past episodes, you can go to solarharmonics.com. Click on the podcast link at the top of the page, and you'll be taken to that vast library stretching back 8 years now. Wow. That is a lot of content. So most likely Jamie has answered your question there. If you would be so kind as to give us a 5-star review, that'd be wonderful. That'd be a great way to give back and encourage Jamie to keep doing this podcast for many years to come. And lastly, if you have a friend considering going solar, this would be a great podcast to recommend to them because it does give them straight answers. It's unbiased and definitely in their best interest to listen so that they can make an educated decision about their own system. And that's a good thing. Until next time, everyone. See you.
That's all for now. Thank you for listening to this episode of Straight Talk Solarcast with solar expert Jamie Duran. Join us each week for more answers to your solar questions. Speaking of questions, got some? Email us at solarcast@solarharmonics.com and we'll be sure to give you an answer in an upcoming episode. This episode of Straight Talk Solarcast is brought to you by Solar Harmonics, the leading solar energy developer in Northern California, who invite you to own your energy. Visit them on the web at www.solarharmonics.com.